Hello, this is Sibyl Harmony, and this is a political video. Let's look at what Kamala's future is going to be, and let's look at the tariffs. Will they be reversed? I also want to look at when is this guy going to be done? Is he going to do his full 4 years? I felt like it could be anywhere from September to sometime early next or middle of next year when he is out of office or maybe even not on the planet. Obviously, right now, he's trying to hide a lot of his criminality with the Ep files and the child trafficking, and he's incriminated himself, his just out of control talking about um, his involvement with Epstein and Maxwell. I mean, it's just the criminality is staggering and shocking. We've not seen this before. I've talked about this in my last video. And so basically, I just want to know, like, when is he going to be gone? I saw an opportunity starting in a bad health now in the month of August, you know. So a lot of times people want me to read them the script of what's going to happen, but we're jumping timelines now. It used to be easier for a psychic to read, here's what's going to happen. But now that the time is shifting, we're going through other states of consciousness, awakening, shifting, the energy's changing and moving so fast, it's hard to tell. So people can change an outcome with their thoughts, their actions, and their feelings. And so it's much like if I do a reading for somebody in my private practice and they want to open a business and I pull the cards or I look at it and I'm like, doesn't look too good. But if you did this, you could change that and this could work out really well for you, probably in the next 2 years. But here's what I would do. So everything is always moving and changing, and we have free will. So to tell, like, okay, he's going to be gone, September 3rd or something, um, it's, it may be a strong energy that way. Obviously, his health is not good. Obviously, he's very crooked. And even still now, the mainstream media is kind of covering up that. But he's desperate for wins. He's desperate not to help people, not to feed the people of Gaza, not to, really help working people and elderly people and children have good food and a good life, which is what you're supposed to be doing as president. But he's desperate for a win because his poll numbers are down and he doesn't want people to say bad things. So it's more like an ego thing. It's not like I'm really here of service. But whatever way stuff gets done, I guess. So let's look at, will they be giving more food to, will Gaza get more food? I mean, it's just horrific. I pray for those people. Um, let's look at what is Kamala Harris's future. Let's look at what's going to happen with the tariffs. So when I'm looking at the tariffs, and I don't like to wait to the end of the video, I just try to channel what I'm, what comes up. I'm channeling, I'm looking at cards, I'm looking psychically at what's going on here. Sorry, the door opened over there. So let's look at the tariffs. So there are lawsuits. I don't know who it was, but there's a lawsuit to try to say that the president cannot uh, unilaterally take the power to make tariffs. And he's saying unless it's an emergency, and he's saying the president will call him fork tongue because he lies a lot. I was calling him snake, but then I thought I don't want to offend snakes, so we'll call him fork tongue. So fork tongue said in the legal documents that he had to declare an emergency. That's why he had to do the tariffs. Like, it's not COVID or Pearl Harbor or something, but he's declaring it's an emergency, and that's why he can do tariffs, which is ridiculous. But it's really can hurt the economy, and it's really a power play to make. It's because he wants everybody to bow down to him. He wants to be the big control boss and tell everybody what to do in the whole world. He doesn't care if he ruins economies, ruins businesses, ruins families, people can't afford, he doesn't care. He just wants to be in power and control. So that's why he did that, because of his giant ego, and he's a narcissist. So this is all for entertainment purposes only, my thoughts and feelings. And so when I look at, well, anyway, I'll look at that. I'll tell you what I saw when I looked at it. But my understanding, it went to the court, and now it's going to the Supreme Court. I don't really trust the Supreme Court. I think the Supreme Court is going to do a this or that answer. It's not there. I don't really know if I don't think they're going to completely say, oh yeah, he has emergency power or he doesn't. And I'm not really even sure if my understanding of this is correct, but I can look at energy. And when I look at the energy, it looks like they don't really want to go one way or the other. They're going to throw it back down to the court system or probably to Congress. And so it's kind of like I was saying, the script is not written. I don't, it's a freaking mess. That's what it looks like. It looks like a mess. So he said he was going to make 90 deals in 90 days. And so that hasn't really happened. And Europe just, I think they just, the EU, when he was in Scotland, just lets him say big numbers, and they said some big numbers, but nothing's in writing. Nothing's really agreed on. And then they went back, and I guess the House of Commons or the government in England said, well, we can't really, or Europe said, we can't really put out, $6 billion or something that, to pay for all this. So they're like, oh, they're send us business or something. They're like, yeah, we said that, but we don't know if we can do it. So that looks like they're just trying to placate him, because he always changes his mind anyway. That's why this is such a mess, because it's just a game to him. It's like a game show or a card game or gangster movies where you just try to say things to win or something. So we're in crazy land here. But then I went, okay, so if we can't really get Congress to stand up to him, and we can't really get the courts to say, no, you can't do that. And even if they did, would he follow that? I'm just looking at right now, like, how does this affect the American people? And so the cards I got is walking off a cliff, like not really, people don't really pay attention. They just think, oh, politics is boring and I just want to do my life and I don't want to pay attention to that. Well, that's like, you're not really paying attention to what's going on, but there's a strength in our country. We were, even though I would say things are too expensive and people are being squeezed by billionaires and corporations, overcharging and taking a lot of profits. So people aren't really being served. We pay taxes, but our tax dollars should be going towards Medicare and food programs and housing programs, not to war machines or making a ballroom in the White House or him taking golf trips or having a gold-plated jet or something. So the money or parades, the money that we're paying as taxes should be going for our programs. But so we have a strength in this government. We had a certain amount of strength, even though I believe wages are too low, costs are too high. And that needs to probably drastically change so that the government is supporting the people, not just corporations and billionaires at the top. So we have this, but we had a certain amount of stability, even though many of us were not paying attention. Now we're going to pay attention, because now it's like, uh-oh, this is the abundance reversed. Okay. Oh, now we got a problem, and people are going to wake up and pay attention. And so what's going to happen is, because people wake up and take action, we still have a lot in this country of structure and government and laws that we can come to, and that we can step back and say, or step up and push back and say, no, we don't want this. We can never really go back to the past. Some of us want to go back to the way it was. So he ruined it. Like some of the stuff he's done. That's a word, ruination, right? It cannot be fixed, but it is going to come back in another way, because people are going to wake up to, like, yeah, we need to pay attention to this. Okay. So that's my read on the tariffs. I don't know when that's going to happen. As far as economy and money, I really work on a spiritual level to create what I want, and I've done that for years, and I help other people do that. And so some people can make a lot of money during this time. Like in '08, I did really well. I kept my house. I listened to my guides. So it's like if you are consciously aware of what you're creating and bringing in, and there can be a lot of good. We need to practice that and not giving our power away, and definitely don't get into fear and panic even when things seem like you should be afraid and panicked, because that's what they want. They want you off balance, afraid and panicked, because that disempowers you and they have the power. So don't let them have your power. Ground, breathe, and tune into your spirit. You can do this, okay? And that's what I teach in my classes and in my private sessions, which are on my website, okay, at sibylharmony.com. So let's look at the future of Kamala Harris. So I do see that Gavin Newsom, before I thought he couldn't win, I think he's going to run. I do think he's going to run. And now it looks more like he could win, because I feel like he's changing his messaging. He's changing the timeline. He's changing the outcome by changing the actions that he's doing. So I do feel like now that he is a possibility more than before. I feel like good news about him. And people are softening towards him as he really stands up to this criminal regime that's in the White House that tried to go after him. And so, he's done some good stuff for the environment, for women's rights, the economy here. He's now working on homelessness, which is very important here in California. And so, even though he comes from money, I feel like he is trying to really work in good faith. He wouldn't be my first pick in the whole world, like yay, but I definitely would vote for him over somebody who just wants to protect big business. Yeah, so that's my little read on him. And when I'm looking at Kamala, I thought she might run for governor. People were saying that, and I thought, yeah, but now she says no. I don't feel like she's getting out of government. I don't feel quite like she knows what she's doing. I feel like the book that she wrote, 107 Days, is almost like she needed to get that out, to kind of birth that out. Because when you write a book, it's like a whole process that you're processing through and going through that. Because for her to have a failure like that, which I feel like it was stolen from her, but that's a whole nother video. For her to have a failure like that, I think it was really hard on her and her family. It was hard on a lot of us. But I don't feel like she'll run for president again, because I don't think she wants to compete with some people. She has donors too, but she's the reason that foster kids in the state of California have college money after they turn 18. They get money to help support. They don't have their whole tuition paid, but they get money for 2 years, or for the year after. She wanted to make free Medicare for elderly people, so you could stay in your home instead of going to uh, uh, an inpatient facility, which costs families thousands of dollars and stops people from working, because now you have to stay home with your adult uh, you know, parent that can't be alone. So you have to quit your job to take care of. So she had some really good things, and it really pisses me off when I think that's when somebody's really trying to do good things in this government, that's when they get a lot of attacks and trolls and, misinformation on them. And that's one way they're like, oh, Bernie Sanders is socialist. Well, libraries and schools are social programs, so are roads, you know, parks, you know. It's not like he's trying to, you know, like, oh, what about the stock market? He was not to destroy your stock market. He's not trying to, he's just trying to level the playing field for people. And so whenever somebody's doing really good stuff, they get attacked. And I feel like she's attacked a lot. I hear a lot of nasty things about her that are not true, like, oh, I would have voted for her, but she's so stupid. I'm like, what? And you voted for that? And you like, have you ever heard her talk? I mean, like, okay, all right. So, I do feel like she has a history in politics, but a future. I don't know if she can run for senator again, but it feels like something like that. I feel like she really liked that when she was a senator. So once you've been vice president, maybe you in the comments can tell me. I don't know if she can be, because I feel like it's something like that. Because I was looking at, is she going to be a judge? Is she going to be on Supreme Court? So I don't know, or Attorney General. I don't see her in a cabinet, but I see her somewhere, but I don't know what that is yet. So very interesting. I do see her in a good future in politics, but I just don't know what exactly that is. Maybe she hasn't made up her mind yet. Okay. And what else were we going to look at? So I should have wrote this down. It's Mercury retrograde. I've been having a time with Mercury retrograde. I hope you all can hear me because some of my videos you couldn't hear. Oh yeah. So I want to see uh, is there going to be food in Gaza? I might try to do a live on Saturday. So I'll post that on my community page if I'm going to do that, where I can answer questions. But I really like doing private readings. I'm really good at that. I'm going to do that on my members channel on the 23rd of August. And it's not expensive, but I'll be doing readings and healings on there if people want to come on there and join my memberships. Also, my classes are going to be my classes. I just love teaching the classes. People get a lot out of it. And so I just wanted to say that it's going to be amazing. I don't even know what it's about. I have to look. But, I'm manifesting here. I'm doing really good. And you can too. Don't let this energy. Oh, that's what I had a dream last night. I had a dream last night that those things in a fair where somebody throws something or hits something and then the person is in a water tank and they get dunked. And to me, that's like water torture. Like, haha, let's dump this person in water. But I don't know if it was exactly like it wasn't a funny thing, but I felt like I was in this tank of water or in this water and I kept getting dunked, dunked. And what it felt like to me was trauma. We're all being traumatized by this uh, forked tongue regime here is just traumatized. The earth is traumatized. The earth is acting up. The earth will act up. It's been trying to hold back and trying to align itself, but there's only so much she can take until she starts to fall apart and react to the energy and the toxins that were things we've done to the earth, the air, the water. So that's all, traumatic to be in floods or earthquakes and things. I know they're a natural part of what happens, but now it's like extreme weather, extreme heat, extreme floods. If you're near water, you should be careful. Prepare yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. There, I look at uh, um, nature outside my window, and there's a bee, and there's a busy bee. Like, this is a good time to be busy and prepare yourself and getting things done. So a lot of times I'm saying, oh, you need to chill back and rest and relax. But summer is a time to have fun, to go on vacation, to do fun things, to be with the people you love, to stop worrying about everything and get out there and enjoy your life and get things done. Be a busy little bee. Sometimes I just, sometimes it's not all this big spiritual hoo-ha meditating for 5 hours or something. Sometimes it's just you need to sweep the house out and dust things off and get organized. That's a busy bee. Make your to-do list, go on your vacation, do stuff for the kids, whatever. Okay. We're going car shopping today, so that's going to be fun for my grandson, getting him ready for school. We're being busy bees today. Okay, so what was I looking at? Oh God, this energy is. Um, I forgot the question. That's why I should go on live because then you guys can tell me what the question is. Oh yeah, relax and have fun and enjoy your summer. There's something I was going to read on. Um, Yeah, when are they, I don't know when they're gonna get out of there. They're gonna get out of there when, uh, yeah, maybe I have dementia. I can't remember the question. Sorry. Okay. Um, when is he gonna get out of there? Uh, when we don't need him there, because he's woken us up to all the corruption. Like all the stuff that was going on in the 80s with the EPs and the wars and the 90s and the raising of prices and the even the way people buy homes, it's like the mortgage companies scam us. They charge you, 4 times the price of, everything has just been, and they've been, the Supreme Court, building up the Supreme Court and doing all that and having all these crooked people in there. I mean, this has all been going on, wars that were, on weapons of mass destruction. There was no weapons of mass destruction. All this has been going on for years, but now we're waking up. So when do we get woke? And so we don't need him there anymore. When is he going to leave the office? Let's look at, let's look at him this year. How's it looking now? When is this guy gonna be out? Like, I keep seeing him. Oh, that's what I was talking about, the trauma. Okay, sorry. Um, okay, so I better write this down. That's what I usually do because I'm channeling and I don't think I have too much dementia yet. I'm only 67, so I'm eclectic when I talk and and I'm channeling, so I'm going from topic to topic. Okay, so when is he gonna get out of there? And then we'll look at how we're being all traumatized. Okay, so when is he gonna be out of there? So I keep seeing him arrested, and I don't know if that's a fear of his. He should be arrested because of all the crimes he's committing. The fork-tongued president. Okay, I don't really want to call him a president because I don't believe he's legitimate. But it's, he probably won't leave. If he stays there for 4 years, he probably won't leave unless he's forced to leave. I mean, there's different timelines. I've seen one timeline and I keep seeing him in a wheelchair. And I think there's a fear. He's afraid of being arrested because of all the crimes he committed. That's why he made the video of Obama being arrested, because that's his biggest fear, that they're going to come in and handcuff him. I don't think that would happen unless he like took a gun and shot somebody. I don't think that would happen. Like, I don't think he can get away with, like, if he shot somebody in his office, in the Oval Office. I mean, who knows what he could do next? But I mean, because I see him on the ground with his hands handcuffed behind his back, and that just may be what people want. That's why I'm seeing that, or that what he's afraid of. When is he going to be out of here? Let's look at this year. How is he going to do this year? Right now, I know he's running scared and he's not well. And how's he going to do this year? Not good. He's going to try to work on some financial stuff. Yeah. Yeah, these cards don't look bad. Messaging, making money. Right now, he's not doing good at all. Let's look at next year. Okay, next year. How is the forked tongue one? The forked tongue felon. There you go. Forked tongue felon gonna do next year, 2026. Oh, wow. So emotionally, I think he really loves this emotionally, that he's able to control everybody and traumatize people. He's going to fight back and stand his ground. And we have the death card. The end of a presidency or a physical. And I'm not wishing somebody go, I'm just reading the energy. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the trauma. So we're being traumatized all of us by living through this traumatic time of weather and finances, and especially if you're an immigrant or yeah. So it's really important that we face our feelings, that we be aware of our feelings and what we're going through, and recognize that part of you. So we don't want to go through this unconsciously and then just start eating a bunch of ice cream or drinking or taking pills or yelling at people or getting into arguments that don't serve us. I mean, pick your battles. I'm not saying never stand up for yourself. I'm just saying, that you don't want to spend a lot of time and energy just, it's not productive to get into a rage. Or so it's like every day, every moment is precious. And how are we using that to take care of ourselves and others, but also to take care of our inner self? To be at peace and harmony when all this is going on is being in a state of wisdom, being able to recognize the fear or the trauma and acknowledging that part of ourselves that's being traumatized or that's afraid, and really being present for ourselves. Really, like in the dream, I kept getting ducked down, dunked down, dunked down. It's like, it got to be like a habitual pattern. There was this terrible study. I hate when scientists use animals for studies, but it's a study I heard where they would put this dog in a kennel and they would shock the kennel and the dog would leave because it would be an electrical shock, because it would associate the kennel with being not a good place to be. And after a while, the dog would just go in the kennel and accept the shock because it just became used to being electrically shocked. So we become habituated, and we accept that this is just happening, and we get unconscious to it, and then we're walking around, traumatized and trying to function. And so what I was talking about, what I said before, is being present for ourselves and being conscious and aware of what's happening when we're getting hit with one thing. That's what they want to do. They want to, one, this, that, the other. So people just get confused and exhausted with the amount of stuff that's coming at them, the amount of strife and stress that this government is putting on us. So be aware that that's happening, breathe and ground, and then create a space for yourself, like a space around you where that is not your reality, where you can listen to this and then go about your day and think about what you want and breathe and enjoy your day, enjoy your pets, enjoy your family, enjoy what you have, and practice gratitude. Even when times are tough, if you practice gratitude, it brings more things to be grateful for. So it's important that we recognize what's happening and that we be present with that process. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.